Happy Monday, everyone. Today on the show, I've got the glamorous Miss AmyLee Westervelt here to talk to us about putting your faith into the universe and letting things happen for you. Have you ever had an inkling that you should do something or that the universe was pushing you towards something? Well, that's exactly what we're talking about today. AmyLee tells me about how she gave up her six-figure network marketing business to do what she feels she is truly called to do. Listen up. You need to hear this. You're listening to the Live with Audacity podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Stewart. Audacity is defined by Merriam-Webster as intrepid boldness or disregard for normal constraints. And that's exactly what we have here. The Live with Audacity podcast is aimed at giving you the courage to explore your someday dreams, do things your way, and start making things happen in your life right now. I'm a mama to 4 kiddos ranging from college student to kindergartner, wife to a high school football and track coach, and a multi-passionate entrepreneur. Together with my guests, we're going to teach you how to live with audacity and intentionality, discover and utilize your unique skills and talents, and step into who you are meant to be in order to make your someday dreams a reality. Are you ready? Here we go. So everyone, I want to thank Miss AmyLee Westervelt for coming on the Live with Audacity podcast. She has taken her income from a 7-figure network marketing business that she decided to leave for reasons that she'll tell us about here in just a few minutes. And then she decided to go out on her own and start her own new business. And she's been doing that for a while. So Amy, please tell us a little bit about how you went from your 7-figure business into what you do now.
Yeah, so thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Basically, I was in a very unique place in my network marketing company. I built a 7-figure business of over 10,000 downlines, and I did it organically. I didn't do it in a sleazy way. I actually, of the people that were in my downline, I only recruited 2 of them because I just am such a large proponent of the law of attraction and attraction marketing. And I did very, very, very well with that company. And pretty much, enjoyed all of the spoils of being a very wealthy person. And basically what happened was at a certain point, I started to notice that. So I had actually joined the company. A lot of people join network marketing companies to make lots of money. I was in a unique position that I wanted to be a leader. I wanted to have a team, and I wanted to inspire people. I've always been a person who, aspires for wholeness in all people. And I wanted to be the conduit for people to change their lives. And this business looked like it was a good idea to do that. And it was for a very long time. And then I started to notice that there were some places where the company was more about having the people believe that it was because of the company that they had their success and that they were making the strides that they were making. And I could see very visibly that it was because of these people. It was because of the essence inside of them. It was because of their tenacity and their ingenuity and their ability to do these things, because they had to, because they were supporting their families. And the more that the company put on pressure to kind of be quiet about that in those people, the more that I had distanced myself. And actually one day, I'm a pretty God-fearing person. I swear I got this message from God that basically said, like, I need you to take this business and put it on the altar like Isaac, and I will provide for you. And that was all I needed. So I decided that I was going to leave. And I decided that all the things that I wasn't able to do in the network marketing company, the way that I wasn't able to lead, that I wasn't allowed to empower, that I wasn't allowed to speak about people's inner magic and essence, that I would then parlay that into a business where I could teach that stuff to people, whether it be in a group situation or private one-on-one. And so I left that company. If I breathe heavy a lot, it's just because I'm 8 months pregnant, not because I'm frustrated.
I'll have to
Um,
say real quick that you
yeah.
posted a picture the other day. Don't look pregnant at all. It's amazing. So
Oh my
you
goodness.
you
Well,
look fantastic.
yeah. Well, no, I definitely. If you saw the real thing, you would know I am very very pregnant. Um, and um, so I wanted to parlay that into a business, and so I left that company in September of last year. And I was making 5 figures a month at the time, and I was terrified, but I was determined. And so I started to build, my business. And at first, it was kind of like a lot of people said, oh, well, the only reason you're successful in this new business is because you're gleaning off the old business. So I pretty quickly jettisoned a lot of a lot of those people out of my life. I was just like, okay, well, if that's what you think, then that's fine. You can go do your thing and I'll do my thing. And I've been able to create a really robust community within my Facebook group and within my courses and things like that. And yeah, so that was last year in September. And, it was a little bit touch and go. We lived off savings for a little while I built things. But here we are in, what is it, June?
Mhm.
And we had, in this business, we had our first $25,000 month in May. So,
That's fantastic.
yeah, so it's definitely working, and everything that I teach actually does work. So that's really good.
Okay, so let me ask you this. When you were in the network marketing business, were they just having you focus on the product and you weren't really allowed to maybe allowed is not the right word, but were you just not really encouraged to coach people on mindset and things like that, and that's why you decided to leave? Or can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so it was definitely it was they didn't come out and say that per se. They didn't actually
Mhm.
come out and say we don't want you to talk about mindset, but it was very like, hey guys, this is happening in the field and people are really upset, and I would love the opportunity. See, at the very beginning, I was afforded opportunities to talk all the time about attraction marketing and all these other things, and I was very instrumental in helping build the business to the level that it got to. In terms of how many people we had and all that stuff, because I was teaching, it's not about the product, it's about the lifestyle. And so at the beginning, I was totally allowed to do that and everybody wanted to hear it. And then after a while, when it started to become a little bit more, I don't want to say self-serving because that's kind of defensive, but the company was much more concerned about what the people could do for them than what they could do for the people. And
Mhm.
so I would offer to do these trainings or offer to talk to people or offer to speak at, conventions and things like that. And the last the last convention we had, it was in the summer, and I didn't get asked to speak. And I didn't understand why, because I had spoken at the leadership training in October and gotten a standing ovation. And again, it wasn't about me, it was about the message. Like, you could put a paper bag over my head, I don't need to be the star, but the message is the star, and people need this information. And so when it came time for a convention, I was like, hey, how come I wasn't tapped to speak? And what came back to me was actually, they said that they didn't want me to speak because they didn't want my feelings to be hurt if nobody came to listen. And at that point,
Um,
I was like, okay, if one person is there, then that's phenomenal, right? Like, if I touch one person with my message. And two, it's not like they have who's teaching what class on a billboard somewhere. So
right.
if people didn't come to a class, it wouldn't be because of, I don't know. And so I just kind of started to really see that, like I would text the CEO and be like, oh my gosh, this is happening in the field. Let me speak to them. Just let me, I can fix this. And, she'd kind of proverbially tap me on the head and be like, oh, you'll get your chance. We'll get you speaking one of these days. And it was just like, after a while, you can just tell that you're being
That they were just
suppressed.
yeah, and they were trying to hold you back. Absolutely.
It wasn't even that they were trying to hold me back, because that's still too personal. It was that they were terrified that I was going to unbrainwash these people, that I was going to
Yeah.
show them their inner essence and be like, look, I have this t-shirt I wear all the time. It says self-made, because it's not about, well, this company gave me this. And so many people in the company say things like that. They say things like, because of this company, I was able to do this. And I'm like, BS, because of you doing the work, because you sacrificed your free time, because you put in the hours. It is not because of any company.
Mhm.
And they didn't really like that.
Yeah. Which to me is kind of strange because isn't that the whole essence of network marketing is like you have to do the work, you have to do the things, you have to network with people and all of that stuff. So it's strange to me that they kind of took a totally different approach to that.
Yeah, I think just, there's a lot of underpinnings of different, you know, um values and things that they have that maybe are different, and the way they do things. And I can appreciate that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it was like, okay, you know what? If you're not going to let me do this, this has to be done. So I'm going to go do it over here. And so I started my business, and I just, I started going live all the time and just talking to people. I do these things on Sunday night called Sunday Night Small, Not So Small Talk. And I just go live for like 15 minutes and talk and tell them things that they probably will never hear anywhere else. And just kind of try to break up that scarcity mindset, that idea that people are out to get you, that if you take more than you deserve, that you're taking it away from someone else, and all these different paradigms that people are just buried under. um and yeah, I mean, eventually, it takes a while, but most of the time people come back around and they're like, wait a second, I'm in control, I'm in charge of my life, I'm the one who gets to decide what happens. And when that happens, look out, because people can't be brainwashed again after that. Like, you can't
Exactly.
you can't put them back in a box, as you like to say.
Yes, exactly. That's so awesome to hear because this Live with Audacity podcast is exactly about that. It's about breaking the stigmas of what we're supposed to do. It's having the courage to tap into who you really are and your unique gifts and talents to serve others. And so I absolutely love that. That's exactly what you have decided to do with your business. So tell me, what is one thing you wish you'd have had the courage to do sooner?
I think for a really long time, I tried to fit in with people in that organization that were not at all in line with my thoughts, or the kind of people I would hang out with in my life. And I tried to conform to this idea of perfection. We all bought the same kind of stuff. We all wore the same, obviously, a lot of us wore the same clothes. I mean, I have this shoe collection from this one particular store that I, if I've worn them at all, I've worn them once for pictures. And I think I probably would have felt more comfortable in my own skin and been able to just say, you know what, I'm not less than them. I'm just different, and to have, I mean, like, for example, with social events in that company, it was very much like a boys club and a girls club. The girls would go, the boys would go. Well, my husband and I happen to be best friends, and we do everything together. It's like a sleepover every night.
Oh,
And
how cute is that?
yeah. And so when that would happen, I would rather go hang out with him and do something than go do a girly thing. And there were times when I kind of felt like pressure. At one point, one of the one of the leaders in the company was like, I need you to walk separate from your husband all day tomorrow. Like when we're
Hmm.
doing whatever, you need to get away from him and not
What?
get, not,
Why?
not get away from him, but you need to learn how to be on your own. And I didn't need to learn to be on my own. I've spent, I'm 36 years old. I've spent a really long time figuring out the kind of people I want to be around and don't want to be around. And I worked really hard in my life to find a spouse that I have as much fun and joy with as him,
Right.
And so why, I don't know. So I would say probably I wish that I had been content not to conform a lot sooner. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Okay. What is one thing you would tell someone else who is thinking of taking the leap into doing what you do?
Yeah, definitely. Great question. So I have this daily inspiration chat that kind of spawns from my Facebook group. And today, it's funny, today's quote is from Sun Tzu, and it is leap and the net will appear. Um, I believe that you have to take the big step. You can't wait for all your ducks to be in a row. It's like those people that say they'll have children when they're ready. You're never ready to have children. It's
Heck
always going to be
no.
a hot mess where your hair is on fire. Like,
Yeah.
and so a business is the same way. If you feel compelled in your heart that there's some kind of, and in this case, if it's specifically my niche, that you feel compelled to stand on the rooftops and scream about this particular topic, then you just got to go do it. And yes, it's scary. Yes, there's definitely moments where you're like, okay, so where are we going to get the money to pay for milk? Or where, oh gosh, they're going to shut the lights off tomorrow. I mean, those things do happen. Don't get me wrong, but you have to decide, how important is it for you to get your message across? How important is it for you to make these changes? Because here's what happens when you make that transition, when you tell the universe or the, source energy or God or whatever you believe in, when you tell it that you're ready to make this leap, it starts rearranging things to go, oh, okay, all right, okay, we're changing. Hold on. So now all of a sudden things start to fall into place and you start to see opportunities that fall in line with what it is you're trying to do. But if you're always waiting behind that curtain, kind of peeking out to say, well, it might be time, you're never going to get that catalyst energy that's going to bring you to that next level. Does that make sense?
Yes. So much sense. Yes. You just really have to have that faith that it's going to work out and you have to put in the work to get to that place.
You do. And you have to be able to say, on the front page of the New York Times, I am doing this. You have to publicly and universally proclaim that this is the direction you're going in. You can't just say, okay, well, hypothetically speaking, what if I was to do this? Well, hypothetically, 17,000 different possibilities could arise.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you've got to take that step so that the next step can be revealed.
I love that. Okay, so tell me about a time you felt like you failed and what you learned from it.
Time that I failed. Um, well, I think that when I first started this business, it was very organic and I was very optimistic that everything would just work and that everybody would love me, everybody would love my message, everybody would see everything that I posted. And obviously that was not the case. And
Right.
so,
Yeah.
not having a plan, throwing spaghetti at the wall, like, oh, I'll go live here and I'll talk about this and maybe I'll post here and maybe I'll do this. I realized that, you have to have a core message. You have to be able to find who it is you're talking to, because if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. And I had to really figure out like who my ideal audience is. And I had to, the biggest thing I had to do was I had to be comfortable that not everybody was going to love me, that I had to say things that were polarizing to one side or the other. Like, for example, for a really long time, my message was kind of vanilla. It was, you can have and do and be anything. And you'll see that on my website because I really haven't updated that part too much. And it wasn't, it was very much like everybody could fit into that mold. And it wasn't until recently, maybe in the last 3 months, that I realized, okay, I'm speaking specifically to someone who's either starting a business or someone who's in network marketing or someone who, has some kind of business endeavor. That's probably who I'm speaking to. Are there outliers? Of course, but for the most part, that's my person. And there are people that believe that we were born broken. There's biblical, mythology that says that everybody is born a sinner. And I don't believe that. And I don't teach that. So there's a whole section of the community that's going to go, oh, well, she doesn't believe in original sin. Then she's not my person. Does that make sense? So like,
Uh-huh.
I've had to come and say, I believe in blue and not green. And I have to be able to let those green people go find their green person.
Right. Yes, totally. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
And
So
that's terrifying.
it is terrifying. It is terrifying. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that because you and here's where I struggle with that sometimes is I try really hard to love everyone, and so I
Mhm.
don't ever want to offend anyone or, make someone feel like I don't believe in them or believe that they're capable of something. So it's a very fine line between trying to figure out how to say what I believe and this is the walk that I'm walking versus I'm not trying to hurt you. This is just how I do things. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to be able to take a stance. And that doesn't mean that you are bashing or polarizing or trying to hurt anybody else. It just means that you like vanilla or chocolate. It doesn't, you're not demonizing the vanilla people. Although, I don't get the whole not liking chocolate thing. But
Uh,
yeah, it's definitely, and it's funny. I was watching YouTube one time and I just got this urge to watch the Reba McEntire video Fancy. Like I just wanted to
oh
watch
my
the video.
gosh. I just love it so much, so much.
And there were like 1.5 million thumbs up, right? Or something like that. But there were 12,000 thumbs down.
And those are not our people.
Right. And I just remember ruminating on that and just being like, oh my goodness, like how could you not love? But I was like, I can't imagine what, and this was at the time, I can't imagine what I would feel like if 12,000 people didn't love me. Like, can you imagine if 12,000 people came out and said, I dislike Melissa's video, like, or her
Yeah.
podcast? Like, you'd be crippled. But, 1 point whatever million people love her.
Yeah.
And so being able to kind of look at that in a ratio perspective and be like, this is not a big deal, that takes some real, I don't even know what you call
Guts.
it. Guts, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would completely agree with that. Different strokes for different folks, and that's what makes the world go round is that we don't all love the same things. We don't all dislike the same things. So, I think that's just what makes our world so incredible. Tell me, what's been the biggest win in your business? I would love to hear about that.
Oh, the biggest win in my business. Gosh. I would say just being able to build a robust community of people who have been turned on to the idea of abundance, people that thought that they were victims and that the world owed them a living or, that everybody was out to get them. And I'm being able to watch that transition of their brain. Like I did the college program in Disney World, and one of the things that we did was in between, I worked in attractions. I worked at Pirates of the Caribbean, and in between our jobs at, turnstiles and load where you press the buttons to put people in the ride and the tower and all that stuff, we had what was called a magical moment. And it was just a 15-minute period where you would go out and you would take this little chest full of these fake gems and walk out to the turnstiles where the line was and hand little kids these gems as a pirate and be like, this is buried treasure. And you'd see their little eyes like light up. Like they were just, it was, that's what it was. It was a magical moment. And I get to see those magical moments all the time with clients, and not even with clients, but just people that are in my free group that are like, okay, I really, they come in and they're like, I really want to change my mindset. I'm upset about this, or I don't know how to fix this. I feel helpless. And then all of a sudden you just see this blossoming in them, and you start to see them on social media having more hope and more excitement and more determination, and it, even more when with my clients, to see them from the first day the way they are on the Zoom, and their eyes are down and they're just so downtrodden, and then all of a sudden they're like, I can do anything, I have the power, nobody can give me the power or take the power away from me, it's all inside me. And every single time that transition happens is it's right up there with childbirth. It's right up there with getting married. It is the essence of the most ecstatic feeling. And I get to witness that on a daily basis.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. When you can help other people do something that they didn't believe that they could do, you're right. It is so thrilling. It's thrilling
Mm-hmm.
to you as the person helping them, as much as it is watching them come to those conclusions, right? So
Absolutely.
it's fascinating. I'm so glad you're here today. This is so great. So what are you working on now, or where is the business headed?
Yeah. So, so I finally, by some, stroke of luck, I finally dragged my husband into the business in the forefront. He has been helping behind the scenes, pretty much since we started. He does all the back end stuff. He does all the web funneling, who knows what, all that techie stuff that I just don't know how to do and can't be bothered with.
Oh, I'm so
And
jealous.
we were having a strategy meeting one day, and I was like, can you teach this to people? And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, of course I could. So we decided to create, we're calling it Unstoppable Entrepreneur. And it's a mastermind that is comprised of mind, body, and business. And so it's a 3-part, it's a 12-week module, 12-week immersion, basically. And there's access to us with group coaching and things like that. And we basically take people through the mindset process, right through the mind, body alignment process, right down to how to start a business, how to, get the results you want in your business, basically the replication of what we did to create our 7-figure business. So we're working on that. And then I also take private coaching, which a lot of people roll their eyes and they're like, why do you do that? It's not scalable. And I'm like, I don't really care, because the results that I get and the way that I get to impact people, I'll probably do at least a little bit of private coaching for the rest of my life, scalable or not, just because I love the way it feels.
Yeah,
So,
it's what
yeah.
lights you up. So, yeah, you gotta keep doing what lights you up, right?
Right. And like part of the reason why you do the job you do, hopefully, especially if you work for yourself, is because there's some empowerment and there's some joy that you get from it, And that's what this is for me. And if I took that part of it out to make more money, that would be silly.
Right. Yes. No, exactly. So when you decided that this was what you wanted to do
Mhm.
and be a mindset coach and help people really kind of get their crap together within themselves, when you would tell other people, oh, I'm a mindset coach, or when people ask you, how how have you overcome the idea of, the eye rolling, the like, oh God, you're a mindset coach? Like, how do you phrase it, or how do you attack it to where, or do you just not care about what those people think because they just don't get it, and you are only there for the people that do understand how important something like that is? Like, tell me how you work that out.
That's a really awesome question. And I'll be honest with you, I have changed what I call myself so many times, um, because there really isn't a way. I know that it'll be revealed down the road exactly what I should say I am, but I think it's more about my energy, and when people are around me and seeing, okay, I see that she can do this. Like, right now I kind of call myself an abundance activator, because I don't necessarily bring anything fresh to the table. I have this unique superpower where I can look at a person and I can say, okay, I see you whole. I see you being productive. I see all the things that you want in yourself. I see them already. I see you as that person. So let me show you all the things that you can change in your existing self, like how you can get rid of all these negative thoughts and feelings and beliefs you have to get you to that point. And so I'm not like, people will be like, "Oh my gosh," they gush about how the changes they've made, and they're like, "You helped me so much." And I'm like, "I did not help you. I was there, I saw it, I showed you where it was, and you did the work." So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely like, on those pages like where you and I met, and people are like, "Who's a mindset coach?" And I'm like, I mean, I am and I'm not. Like, I think hopefully, I'm hoping that at some point my brand, Gratitude and Glamour, and my reputation will precede me to the point where people will be like, "Oh, she did this for me," as opposed to "she is this." Does that,
Right.
or like, "She helped me find this in myself." Or a lot of my business comes from referrals. People who saw clients of mine go from like, like I said, not making eye contact to all of a sudden flying around with rockets on their shoes. and
Yeah.
and they want to know, like, where did that come from? And so I get a lot of people that way. It doesn't bother me so much that people, roll their eyes about it, because you really do. They're the burden of proof is on us to explain what this is. And the easiest way to do that is just to get into my free group and kind of hang around and see how things go and start to warm up to the ideas, and then make decisions about, okay, is this something I want to do? But I don't generally just kind of be like, I'm this and I can do this, because it's not the same for everyone. I have clients that I'm kind of more of a life coach to. We're really working through those paradigms about self-care and, what's the word I'm looking for? Self-actualization. But then I've got clients that we're literally working on, okay, what's your wealth plan for the next 90 days? And what can we do to add? I mean, I have people that are in the professional sector, I have direct sales, I have stay-at-home moms. And so I guess it's more that I'm me and I do all these roles, as opposed to I fit in. Again, it's back to that box, Melissa.
Yeah, you don't fit in a box at all. No way.
No, no, I do
I love
not fit
that.
in a box. And
I
neither
love
do
it.
you.
No, definitely not, which is exactly why we're here.
Yes.
Okay, so let's do a little rapid fire.
Sure.
Let's see. What is a book, article, person, or talk that changed your life?
Okay, there's a book. It's called The Universe Has Your Back. It's by Gabby Bernstein. I read it probably about 6 months ago, and it literally changed my life. Just the idea that the world and the universe is set up to support you. It's like this trust fall that's built in everywhere you go. Um, and that if you surrender to that power, if you just put your guard down, it will be there to bolster anything you're doing for your highest good. And I love, love, love that. So if you haven't read it, I definitely recommend
It is on my list, and I am so reading it next.
it.
Because no, that's totally my thing. I love that. I get so into it, and all the things that our minds are actually capable of. It's
Mhm.
fascinating to me. So I love that. Okay, so what's your favorite Friday night at home?
Well, all my Friday nights are at home because we are Jewish, and so we celebrate the Sabbath. So from
Oh, okay.
Friday night at sundown to Saturday night at sundown. Usually having dinner with my family. It's a very, very big dinner at the table, and we have prayers and all those things. And usually just snuggling with my kids, watching a movie, um, being present in the current moment, as opposed to kind of living in all the different roles that I play.
Absolutely. No, I think that is so important, and, I think more of us should take that time to do that, because when you can get rid of, all the Facebook and the technology and the all the stuff, then you really can just tap into being a mom and being a wife and really focusing on that, and I think we need more of that for sure. Um, okay, what was your dream job as a kid?
I wanted to be a zoologist.
That's so crazy. I love that.
I don't know why. I've just always wanted when I was little, I wanted to work with animals, and now that I know what that would entail, that is like the least that no, no.
That's so funny. So what if you had to pick, like, an exhibit to be in and to work in, what would it be?
Oh, the pandas. I'm obsessed with pandas.
Oh, that's so cute. I love
Yeah, I
that.
love pandas.
Giraffes are my favorite.
Oh, I
Um,
love giraffes too.
I know, they're just so stinking pretty, but,
I'm just afraid they're gonna break their necks when they bend down. I'm like, "Oh gosh."
I know, but they're just so strong and
They
majestic and
are.
oh, I just love
Yeah.
them. But anyway, um, okay, so let's see. I would ask you what your next vacay is that you're planning, but I have a feeling you'll just like be in a hospital or
I actually
or
have my
hanging out in
babies at the
bed
birth center. So I'll be in and out probably within 4 hours. I'll have the baby and come home, which I'm super psyched. I'd much rather recuperate in my own bed.
for sure. For sure.
Um,
That's awesome.
but we're Disney Vacation Club members, so probably we'll go to Disney and do the Grand Floridian again because that's place is heaven.
Okay, yes. So a couple of years ago, it was way back in 2012 now, my goodness. We took our entire family. We had 3 kids at the time, and my husband is not a fan of amusement parks. So when he and I got married and we were discussing that with my family is crazy about amusement parks. They were like, are you sure this marriage is gonna last?" But we took him to Disney World, and I'm not even kidding. So my grandfather used to work for Anheuser-Busch, and they lived in Jacksonville, Florida, so we went to Disney all the time. We went to Busch Gardens, SeaWorld, the whole 9 yards, but so we finally took him to Disney World for the first time, and I'm not joking, he was like a kid in a candy store. He took so many pictures and so many videos,
Oh.
and he was just like, "This is the most magical place on earth," and
Oh.
it was the cutest thing in the whole world, so, yeah, no, anyone can change their mind about anything if they're at Disney World for sure.
I
So
think my husband's the same way. Like he definitely when we first started going, we went a couple of times and he was like, I've been there. I could take it or leave it. We live in Savannah. It's not that far." But then once we joined DVC and we started going regularly, I mean, he loves to be spoiled. He loves that 5-star experience. He's the one who's the snob about the sheets, not me.
yeah.
And so so everywhere we went that there were, just this pomp and circumstance, his eyes were like everywhere and he's so proud of his connection, to there and the fact that we have this timeshare thing and he's
That's so cool.
adorable.
That's so cool. I just literally Disney can bring out the best in anyone. I firmly believe that.
It really can.
Okay, so where can people find you to get more information about what you do and who you are?
Yeah, so a couple different things. I would say the best way to get a hold of me is probably just to join my Facebook group. Everybody has Facebook. And that's gratitudeandglamour.com/unstoppable because my group is called Unstoppable.
Okay,
And you can always find me on Instagram too, Gratitude and Glamour. So I think you'll have, the logistics of that link in your
for sure.
whatever. It's got underscores and stuff in it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. No, I'll post it in the show notes for everybody.
Perfect.
And real quick, lastly, what's
Yeah.
your best advice to help our listeners live with audacity?
Oh gosh. Um, just keep reminding yourself that the essence and the power and the magic to do absolutely anything that your mind could conceive of is inside of you. That anything in the world that you want to do, there's no one that can stop you. There's not a spouse, a parent, a coach, a boss. If you truly hone in on something and put your eyes on it, you literally are unstoppable. And if you need evidence of that, just look at the computer or the airplane or any of the cures we have for incurable diseases. I mean, if you can hold it in your head, you can hold it in your hand.
I love that. Oh, it's so good. So good. Everybody, I am so glad we got to have AmyLee here today. It was so awesome getting to know you and getting to kind of hear your story. I hope that everyone takes away some really great information from this podcast. Thank you so much again for coming on. And
Oh, it's my pleasure.
yeah, thank you. Did you love this episode of the Live with Audacity podcast as much as I did? I know you did. So if that's true, please head on over to iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts, subscribe, leave me a review. Please let me know how I'm doing, and I hope to see you next week. Bye.